Old school RuneScape is changing. Now, this is not negative at all. I like all of the changes that have been made. I was doing Desert Treasure 2 about a week ago now, and I was on the boss, the axe boss that throws all the axes around, and I kept dying and dying and dying. And I wanted to show my sister, so I brought her into my room. She used to play old school RuneScape a long time ago, actually pre-EOC, and she just liked training agility for some reason. I don't know what that was all about, but she knows RuneScape. She's done a bunch of quests and stuff like that in the past, does not play anymore, but I showed her this boss and how crazy intense it was, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. She goes and says, oh, you don't just click and then that's it anymore, and I'm like, no dude, the game's changed quite a bit. It's kind of weird when you actually think about it, right? You used to just like click on a creature like I'm doing right now for Slayer, and that was pretty much it, even with some of the bosses in the game. It's no longer just like a click and then that's everything, you know what I mean? With a lot of the bosses, there's crazy mechanics that you have to learn with each and every different boss, and you have to memorize all these different mechanics or you can die. And I think it's actually really cool that with such a simple combat system, they were able to make it kind of complex in a way. Like something like the Infernal Cape killing Zuck is something that I probably will never even attempt, because you have to like go through all the waves and learn all the prayer switching, and it can take months and months and months to get your first kill there. Now it's crazy, right? We've got melee, range, and magic, and it's a combat triangle. And then other than that, we've got prayer and spells, and that's how we do combat, right? I mean, there's moving, but most of it involves moving, prayer switching, and maybe casting a spell here and there, like freezing an opponent or whatever, right? It sounds very simple, right? But there's actually so much involved with it, and it's crazy what they could do with such a simple combat system. We never needed the evolution of combat. When I started this game, it was 2009, and I just remember back in school in the day, every single person in the computer lab at the school would be running RuneScape from the browser, which is just really crazy to think about. I haven't played the RuneScape in the browser for years. I don't even think that's an option anymore, right? You gotta download the official client or Runelite, and I can't imagine this game without Runelite. When old school RuneScape first came out, we didn't have Runelite, right? And now with Runelite, we've got experience trackers, drop trackers, just different tile marking plugins. You can track literally anything in this game, make it easier, enhance the graphics. You can even enhance the performance with it. You got clue scroll helpers, quest helpers. I don't think we could play this game anymore without Runelite. It's such a band-aid. But it's good, right? It really makes us all better players. It took that really annoying part of RuneScape out of the way. Like, I forget where my farming patches are, what I've planted, right? Oh, I need to look up something in a bank. Oh, I ran out of the tabs. I'm just going to add more to the side. I want to organize my bank better. Oh, I've got a slower computer. Let's make a GPU plugin that just makes RuneScape run better. Like, it's just things that honestly should have been added into the game anyways, right? And then if you've got like a good computer, whatever, you can enhance your graphics, make it run better, make the draw distance better. There's just so many cool plugins. We got like the quest helper, like I said before. It really just makes us all better and more efficient at the game. And we can turn on and off every single plugin as well, right? So everyone can have their own RuneScape experience, and you can just customize it to have it how you like it. Now, I was just talking about questing with old school RuneScape and how much it has actually changed. Of course, we've got the Quest Helper plugin, which is very, very nice and allows you to walk through all of the quests pretty easily, right? We got a little guide that would help us so we don't have to pull up a YouTube video or another monitor on the side and go through the wiki just to complete a quest. So it really makes the convenience for questing a lot easier. However, some of the quests that have been added are very, very difficult or very annoying, right? If you thought rat catchers was very annoying, yeah, good luck with Monkey Madness 2. That one is just so annoying, and if you mess up, you gotta start from the start again. That quest will really make you hate monkeys, of course. Monkey Madness, it will make you hate them. Also, we got things like Dragon Slayer 2, right? And you gotta kill 2 bosses in it. We gotta kill Vorkath, and then the other boss, I forget what the name is, but yeah, it really teaches you how to get into PvM, and this was never something that was that intense before, right? You had to kill some bosses in quests, but they were always pretty simple. You could kill them with pretty much basic gear that you could just buy from the Grand Exchange, whatever it is, and they were never too much of a challenge, really. But now we've got a lot of content locked behind the quest cape. It used to be a fairly easy thing to do, you know? You had the level, you had the requirement, you could just kind of go and do the quest, and that was it. There was really no effort or skill involved. Some of them did take a while, and some of them were a little frustrating, right? We got Morning's End Part 2, to, but fairly simple, right? You get it done in like an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is. And then Questcape was very simple. That was it. But now there's just so many things locked behind the Questcape, right? You got some intense puzzles that can take hours, like Song of the Elves. It's just crazy puzzles that will make you go insane. And then bosses that you have to defeat, right? You also have to complete it Theater of Blood run, which is interesting that they've added that. There is an entry mode though, which will get you into raids. And then of course the newest one that just came out was Desert Treasure 2. About an 8-hour quest, maybe 6 hours if we got the quest helper plugin and you're a little more experienced with the game. So say 6 to 8 hours to complete. You gotta kill 4 bosses, which are fairly difficult. Like I was saying at the start of this video, I died multiple times, pretty much to all of them, right? But you get to learn a lot. But if you're not experienced at PvM or at all, really, it's gonna be insanely difficult for you to get the quest cape. Now the next change is skilling bosses, which is amazing. One of the best changes that I think they've ever made to old school RuneScape, right? Skilling has always been AFK and boring for the most part. There's certain exceptions like Hunters, not super AFK, whatever, right? But now we've got skilling bosses, so they took like very simple, boring skills like maybe fire making or fishing, and they gave them a skilling boss format. Lots of people like bossing on this game, right? It's what they do. They don't like to skill, they hate skilling, they want to do some PvM, but now we've got bosses that you can do for skilling, which I think is super interesting. So right now we've got Winter Todd for fire making, we got Temperus for fishing, and we got Zolcano, which it trains a little bit of rune crafting, mining, and smithing. And then I guess we technically have the Guardians of the Rift, which is another rune crafting one, which is very fun. I don't know if you'd consider that a mini game or a skilling boss, but I think it's a very interesting concept that old school RuneScape has done, which makes skilling more interactive and fun. Now, of course, old school RuneScape has a ton of different game modes, and I think the Ironman has really stood out compared to all of the other ones, of course, right? Ironman really changed how a lot of the people played the game, and it's the reason why a lot of people still play this game today. So yeah, Ironman, you do everything yourself. Obviously, you have no access to the Grand Exchange, and that's why I pretty much still play RuneScape. I would be so burnt out if I was just playing a main account right now. It makes the game super interesting and fun, and I think it's a really cool direction that they took, adding different types of game modes, whether they're temporary or permanent, right? So right now, of course, we got the Ironman mode, we got the Ultimate Ironman mode, which is basically an Ironman, but you can't use a bank, so you've got an inventory, and there's a bunch of strategies that people use with that. Then we have a Hardcore Ironman, which is a regular Ironman, but you got 1 life, so if you die or disconnect, that's it. Then we got Group Ironman, pretty self-explanatory. You got a group of your friends, and you can have an account together where you share a bank and stuff like that. You don't share stats, you just share items. It's also pretty cool and interesting, but you gotta have some friends that are also really dedicated to the game, right? And then we've got Dead Man mode, which was like a PKing server, which was a separate server, right? And basically you'd level up. I think there was like elevated experience and whatever, and there was its own separate economy, and I think there was also different types of season with Deadman mode. I've never really been super into PKing, but yeah, that was really cool. So you basically, the whole world was open and you could PK anywhere, but you had to get all the stats and items on this separate server. Very interesting concept for people that really like PKing. Then we had King of the Skill, which was a couple of years ago, I'd say 3 to 4 years ago now. Basically what King of the Skill was it was a temporary game mode, and you had 24 hours, and that was it. You only could log in for 24 hours. So if say you logged in for 10 seconds, logged out, that would only count towards 10 seconds. So people exploited it and had some really weird ways of like leveling up their skills. I believe it was like 10x, maybe 20x. I forget exactly. It was just so long ago. It was like 20 times the experience, right? So you could get 99 very, very quickly. And people were pretty much racing for rank 1 and whatever it was. And there was a bunch of different rewards for it. I think there was one that was like a lifetime membership, something like that. It was pretty cool. And then we've also got Leagues. Leagues is another temporary game mode, which is pretty cool. And what Leagues is it lasts, say, a month, and it's a separate game mode for a month. You have the whole month to log in, whatever it is, and there's just a set amount of achievements that you can do and unlock points and do tasks. It's honestly a lot of fun. Of course, you have elevated experience for this as well. Each league's different. One, you were only in one region. One, you had to pick certain regions, and all you have to do is just play the game normally, level up. It's just very fast leveling, and the more achievements you do, pretty much the more points you get, and then you can use these points for cosmetic rewards in the main game, like graceful recoloring, some stuff for your POH. It wasn't like overpowered or anything like that. And then more recently, we've got quest speedrunning. Basically, what this is like you log into a separate game world and you speedrun a quest. I'm not exactly sure how it works because I haven't done it myself. I'm assuming you get the items given to you or something like that, but there's world records that you can get, and I believe you get cosmetic trophies as well for your main account. Well, overall, old school RuneScape has changed quite a bit since the day of release. It's no longer just click and kill a boss, right? We got some crazy, different, intense bosses with such a simple combat system. Like I said, we never needed the evolution of combat. We just needed them to listen and have some cool changes, right? We got a ton of quest improvements, some being just extremely long, some being really frustrating, but overall needing a lot more knowledge and PVM experience. We got skilling bosses, which makes skilling a lot more interesting and engaging. It's just awesome. We got Runelite, it's a million different plugins, just makes the game run better and just feel better overall. We've got a ton of different game modes, so I think old school RuneScape has done a phenomenal job in the past, I guess, decade now, ever since it's come out, which is pretty crazy to think about. These things that we didn't have in original RuneScape, right? It's just overall pretty cool. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video today. Let me know what you think about all of the changes with old school RuneScape, ones you liked, ones you didn't like over the past, I guess, decade, like I said. And yeah, that's just about it for today. I will catch you guys in the next video. See ya later.